All right, welcome back. This is episode 7, which kind of completes our framework. I think our core framework for making space for love. And Graham and I were just talking about this before we started, and I think it's important for people to realize that like this isn't some 7-step self-help thing, right? Like it's not something where you like graduate through the steps. It's more just like tool belts where you pull a concept out as you need it in whatever phase you are in whatever relationship dynamic you're in or not in.
That's exactly it. This is real life. Like we're living in real life, where it's like we do, it's not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You're getting out of that math world, that calculated. I mean, to be real, like here's my profile and let me find the right, and you're trying to find this right fit to where you're like, I'm tuned in, I'm present. And if I'm present, you can kind of read what to do next, right? Because you're
Yep.
not like in these steps, you're like, I'm reading what to do next, and so I can kind of follow that, and that's the unknown, but that's actually the fun place to be. That's the flow, because if we're in the calculating place, if I need to get to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's no way we can be reading what's actually here because we're in like another space. So I think people say they're afraid of the unknown. I don't think they actually are. It's that like you don't know that it's actually the place to be, and that's where this stuff gets fun, and you have all the tools. And if we bring it back to, I got this advice when I was really young. Hey, this is work every day, Graham. A good relationship is work every day. That makes sense. Of course, right? You want to give to it. You want to put into it. And if we're not present, we definitely can't. We can't be here for it. Being emotionally available starts with I'm present. I'm here, right? Clearly, like I got to be where my feet are. I think that's a big reminder as we do this. Like as we're doing this every day now, someone's come into our life who I want to do this with. We're like, I'm going to practice these skills every day now. This is an everyday practice, not a perfection. Some days are going to feel more challenging than other. My shit's for sure about to really come up, probably more than ever, actually, like more than ever, because now something's really here, like it's really real. You can't be like, well, this person's bullshit. Like this ain't that. This is someone who's going to do the work and who's here as well. So you're going to feel stuff probably that you've really never felt before, because the other ones you got to reject silently because they weren't available, or we got this going. Now it's like, nope, this person's totally available. This reminds me of, I work with this one NBA player, and this is every basketball player's dream is, man, if the coach would just believe in me, or if the coach gives, they call it the green light. If coach gives me the green light and just says, do whatever you want, man, I just need the green light. Coach needs to believe in me. And I had this one player I trained, and he's really good. He was like, Graham, coach gave me the green light. And it's not at all how I thought it would feel. I was fucking scared. Because all of a sudden, if coach says, hey, do whatever you want out there, you can shoot any shot you want, take as many shots as you want. Well, shit, if it doesn't work now,
It's on you.
that's on me. I can't blame the coach, the organization, my teammates. And so that's like a big moment. And so all we do in that moment, one is, hey, I want this. I wanted it. Feels different than what I thought. Holy shit, it's vulnerable and scary. I want this, and I actually have the skills to do it. So I want a great relationship to come in my life. I want to make space for it. Well, fucking, it's going to show up. That's the green light. And you're like, oh, if it doesn't work now, right? So stories are going to pop up. That's what makes this like, it's not you're done with it. It's like you're going to have stories the rest of your life. You just get more skilled at this. And so if someone's come into your life, you've made space, you're working, you've tamed your lion a little bit, you're getting rejected really well. And this thing comes into your life that you're like, wow, this is a match on everything we want. Then this is where we start. We start doing the daily practice with this. This is what I work on every day, right? This is what me and my wife work on every day. This is what we want to be an example for our kids as best we can. No, fucking, I'm not perfect at fucking all by any means. But this is what I'm setting my attention is, hey, it's daily practice. It's daily work. I'm down to do it. Our one vow, like our one thing, my wife and I, was, look, I don't know what the work's going to be like in 10 years or a year. But once we're aware of whatever the work is, I'll do the work. That's it. So I don't know what's going to come up,
That's so good.
but I'll do it when it comes up. And so now we've got to like a 1 day deal. A 1 day deal is, hey, let's just do it today. We're gonna have to do it every day. It's like eating water. I mean, drinking water, eating food, or kind of like, like moving your body around, exercise. You're like, this becomes a daily practice. Not, am I done with it? Am I finally done? I'm like, we don't want to be like, we're not done with this. And so I'm grateful I get to do the work today, and let's perform. And let's start with being, okay, here's my feet. I'm going to breathe. And we write the basics. If we think about tap, this is where tap comes into play, like these basic mental skills, right? Basic stuff. And the tap is, hey, I'm going to trust what's in my control. I'm going to accept what's out of my control. And I'm going to perform present. I'm going to be present. And then if we're not tapping in, say we're caught up in some shit that's outside of my control, like we get caught up in something, this is where palms down comes in. Hey, I don't react. I respond. I take a breath and I move on, right? I'm working these moments. And then the next play speed is, hey, can I do that relatively quickly and gracefully? Right? Or do I not do it quickly and gracefully? Or can I do that quickly and gracefully? So next play speed is, let it go, get it back. Next play, I tap. So I'm back to the present, back to trusting what's in my control, accepting what's out. And we did a great job in the last one. Hey, I'm getting rejected on these apps. And really what you're doing is you're having a great tap in that moment. Hey, I totally accept I got rejected. I'm trusting what's in my control. I'm going to keep making space. I'm doing it in the present. That's a win.
I've been using next play speed so much in the last week or two, and it's
Okay.
amazing. It's like you do something where you think like, oh, maybe I like messed that up, or maybe I
Yeah.
should have approached that differently. And you're like, next play speed, like, jump into the next one. Like, there's another one. Like, you don't need to worry about that, right? Which is
That's now you're the little baby falling down, not beating yourself up, doing a good job learning, moving forward. So next play is not you're just oblivious to what just happened. Like, learn from it. Cool, keep it moving. Keep it moving forward.
it's been awesome. I think so. What you're talking about, what we're talking about now, is like
Yeah.
we get into that relationship space. We get into that relationship doing the work every day. One of the hardest things I think that people have an issue with when they start being around somebody that they love,
Okay.
when they have really strong feelings and connection for all the time, is what I call relationship grilled cheese, which is
Okay.
when you melt together, you start spending a lot of time with this person, and you stop doing the things that kind of make you you, and they stop doing the things that, you know,
Yeah.
make them an individual, and you kind of melt into each other, and you don't know where like you end and they begin.
Okay.
I think when it gets really unhealthy is when you stop doing the things that you need to do for your self-care. And that to me is like the ultimate warning sign of like, pause, step back. But then it gets really hard because you're with someone, you've been doing this forever, not forever, but like for a long time, and like you've melted into each other, and then trying to separate. Like, have you ever taken, like, you ever like opened up a grilled
Yeah.
cheese,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
if I have two pieces, if I make a grilled cheese with two pieces of cheese and I melt that thing together, if I pull that apart, like, I don't know what cheese was what. And so when you need to step back, being able to say to your partner like, hey, we're getting too deep in this, like, I'm losing myself, and I really need to gain back some of the things that make me me,
Yeah.
and some of the things that allow me to be you, or to allow me to be me, so that I can be with you.
You're spot on. Starts with communication. And if I'm hearing you correctly, this makes total sense to me. You're going to go through, because why wouldn't we be ourselves? Why wouldn't we do the self care that we know is right? Maybe we're afraid to lose someone. So we let go of ourselves and try to cling or grab or not lose this person. And I think the irony is, you're hitting it on the head. The way I don't lose them is I actually take care of myself today. So I love the grilled cheese approach. What they taught me, and this is right up your alley. I used to lifeguard, believe it or not. I used to lifeguard.
Oh,
I used to lifeguard,
damn.
yeah, because I got a lifeguard job because I decent swimmer, not competitive, but like I could
Yeah, yeah,
swim,
yeah.
and they gave me, when I was lifeguarding in the summer after like my sophomore year of college, you get a free gym membership. So I was like, killer, dude. I make $12 an hour. I get a free gym membership. Right, this is great summer. But what I learned lifeguarding was, and I know you know this, is that like if you're going to go save someone, when you're saving someone, a drowning person who's still actively drowning, if you get close to them, they're going to throw you the fuck under the water. They'll do anything. They're not thinking straight to stay alive. So when you approach them, right, you're approaching, and then you get your feet first. So if they try to grab you, literally, they're like, kick them off. Because if they still have energy, it's fine. Kick them off, because we can't have two people drowning. And what I got by that is, one, like, don't kick your partners. But what I got was like, if I don't take care of myself, two people drown. Two people drown. So this lifeguard approach of like, even if it looks like there's like this life and death situation here, I have to take care of myself first. Because if I don't take care of myself first, we're for sure both dead. And so if you get into, like, you're getting into a relationship and you mention self-care and those things, this is so important, dude. Whatever that means for you, like whatever those things are for you. And this is going to be where you're going to work it with your partner. It's going to take a lot of open, vulnerable conversation, and to like work with each other as you start to establish this. This is my, do some people call it love language maybe, or like their self-care? Like, these are the things that really resonate with me, that are like on a good daily basis, they work with me, and that your partner might be different for them, the things that they need, and you start to learn, and you go through this process of working with each other, but you can't let go of all yourself, right? This is that you got to hold on to yourself as you learn to share with someone else. So you're sharing, but you're holding yourself as you're right next to someone. So you're still yourself, but you get to be next to someone as you do that together. And look, man, grilled cheese, I think, is a good example. This shit's gonna get messy a little bit. Let's keep it real, right? We're talking about, I'm like, this is some messy shit. Like, when me and Tina were learning to do this stuff, like, we got so much counseling and coaching, and what can really help in this moment is you have a third party that
Oh yeah.
that works
Yep.
with you, because a third party can be not overwhelmingly triggered as you go through your triggers and learn to not drown your partner and like be with yourself. A third party can give great perspective, so you don't, you don't like,
Like reduce defensiveness and
yeah,
teach you how to, like you said at the very beginning of this,
yeah.
teach communication.
That helps a lot. And so that's reframing. Like, when I say, like, dude, I've gotten, like, I was taking my student loans for sports psychology and paying for coaching in marriage and family therapy and counseling. I'm like, because I wanted to be good at this shit. You ever try to get good at something and not get coached? You ever seen a great athlete say, I'm going to go get good at this, and have no one coach me? Said no one ever in the history of anyone who's good at it. So we're just reframing this like, this is badass if you're getting marriage and family therapy coaching, because you're learning to fucking do it. You're getting skilled. So sometimes the word counseling can throw someone off. I just say coaching. And I'm like, go get coached at what you want to get better at. I wanted to get better at this. You do get better at this. You fall flat on your face. You're going to lose yourself to find yourself, right? You'll be like, wow, I just lost myself 3 days in a row, but now I'm really clear. I can't let go of those boundaries. So I'm going to be in that situation again. I'm going to do the right action in that moment. It's going to feel not like the right thing to do. It's going to feel like some version of death again, because I'm going to try to go make sure they don't leave. To make sure they don't leave, I actually got to take care of myself in this moment,
Yeah.
right? And I got to go do that. And that might even feel like, if I've never done that before, it might feel fucking horrifying.
I feel like there's two levels to this concept too, right?
Yeah.
You have you have to protect your self-care, which I think is the number one priority, right? And you use like the airplane analogy, right? Like they always say in the safety briefing, like, if
Oh,
you're
right.
traveling with small children, please put your mask on before you
Yeah, right.
assist somebody else. It's like, I can't help anybody if I'm dead. I
Yeah,
can't help
right.
anybody. So I've always looked at it in relationships as like, I need to maintain my self-care routines so that I can be the best version of myself,
Yeah, man.
so I can be there for my kids or my partner
Yeah.
or whoever. And then the second level, I think, is just not losing yourself, not become like not melting into one. And I
Yeah.
think there's a difference. Like I don't know. I'd be interested to see what other people think about this, because
Yeah.
in today, I think you hear a lot of people say you should never need somebody, or you should, like, I'm like, it's so good to be independent. And like, I think we've created a culture where there's like, so like, that independence is like maybe a little bit on the unhealthy side
I
now,
got you. Yeah,
right?
no, I know what you're saying.
And so I think there's a middle ground where
Yeah.
you're not melted together and doing everything together, but you're also not like, well, I don't need you. So if you decide to leave today, like everything's gonna be fine. Like that's not real. Like
Yeah, yeah,
we have a connection. Like like if one of us leaves or like just like so then what are we doing if this connection you're like so guarded off and walled and like I'm so independent that like I don't care if you leave. Like that's not to me. That's not a relationship. That's not a connection. So there's this middle ground of we've agreed to be partners and like I have your back, right? We're in this together. We're in it to do the work together.
mm-hmm.
But then the same piece of like, oh, like you want to go out and have a weekend with your friends, or
Yeah,
like you want to go out to happy hour and have a night off, or like you need to go fishing and like stand in a river
yeah,
by yourself and be with your thoughts, or whatever the things are doing. Like you enjoy riding motorcycles or like anything,
sure.
right? Anything that these people like to do, like your partner doesn't always have to be doing those things with you, and you need to be
Not at all.
find some way to be secure enough to just on both ends, like as the person who wants to do those things, say to somebody, doing these is really important to me. And like, if you want to be with me, like, that's something that I need to be able to do. Like, I'm not going to do it all the time,
See,
but I need to be able to do it. And then being on the receiving end of that and understanding that that person's not rejecting you saying, I don't want to spend every second of the day with you because you're not worth it. They're just saying, I'm a person. I really like doing these things, and you know, if you love me, you will understand that about me, and then you'll let them do it, right? Like I I get asked questions
mm.
by people all the time about people who have never been part of the dating app world or
Yeah,
aren't dating today, and they're like, what's it like dating in your 40s? And my answer is always like, what's kind of like this double-edged sword, right? It's like I never envisioned myself being in this position, right? Like I don't necessarily want to be in this
yeah,
space right now, but it's where I am, and so I accept that, and like I've got to do the best that I can with it. And then the flip side of it is like there is a part of it that is so much more freeing than like dating in your 20s or like even early 30s, right? And the difference I
oh,
use is in your 20s, like part is like you don't necessarily know who you are. You
yeah,
haven't fully
right,
developed into like
right.
and like even at 40 something, like I don't think that I'm fully developed into clearly I'm still doing work on
Yeah,
myself. But in your 20s it's like, well, I'll just speak for myself. Like I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what
totally.
I wanted to be. I didn't know like how to be in relationships. And so when you're dating in your 20s, I was very much like, not that I was fake, but I would share the parts of me that I thought somebody else wanted to see, and then the parts of me that like, not that I was like fully ashamed of, but
Yeah,
just things that like were maybe a little bit more vulnerable to share. Like I wouldn't let them see those parts. In my 40s now, it's like I'm just fully like,
yeah,
hey, this is me. Like, sometimes in the morning, I like to walk outside at barefoot and say like good morning to the sun and listen to the birds. And like, that's
yeah,
how I like to start my day. And if you think
yeah,
that's weird, like, we're probably not going to like, it's probably
yeah,
not going to be it.
yeah.
Right.
And
And
that's
like,
okay.
so I think there is a freeing part of being a little bit older and being in the dating world and just being like, well, this is me. Like, if you like it, you like it. If you don't, no hard feelings.
That's right,
Let's just, save everybody some time and move on.
dude. Everything you're saying, I connect with in the sense that like as you're getting with someone, there's no like, and then just direct line like to this thing. You're just gonna work on communicating with each other, and like you said, like slowly being like, "Hey, here's part of me. I'm gonna bring that to the table," and it's kind of scary, and you're vulnerable, and you bring it to the table, and your partner learns to accept that part of you, and you're like, "Wow, I never shared that before." Like you're gonna go through this a lot. You're gonna go through the experience of like, well, now we're gonna go through for a while, like sharing with each other, and this scary thing of like sharing a little bit and then like is the lion really tamed, or are you sure you're going to stay, buddy? You're not just going to take off, like, so you're going to go through it for a while, and that's the journey together. And that's the journey of really connecting and really getting to know each other, and this is where the communication is really important, and then the recovery is really important. So I know I'm not perfect at this shit. And every time we act like this and we act on it and we project that energy, I've noticed for myself that's like oh, got to recover later on because I like projected, like say anger for me. That's what I have to deal with a lot, like anger, and learning if I project anger to the people I love most, like that's not, that doesn't work out later. They're like that's damage done, like
Hmm.
you've damaged, and people are so some of the great coaching is like yeah, you're gonna have to learn to get together. And this is, dude, this is messy shit. Just so you know, this is messy. Like grilled cheese is great. It's messy. You might totally melt into each other and be like, all right, got to reform my cheese. The good thing about cheese is it's totally pliable. You can reform it. You can find your center again. You go, let's practice again. Let's do it. I can't just gooey it, like just let go of myself. I got to like learn to maintain myself in this thing. And that's going to be new. That's learning to walk. Like you're going to stumble and fall. And so let's recover well, right? Let's miss well. Let's have lots of grace. And as we go through this shit, like, who knows what's going to pop up for you? But if you're really there for each other, all your shit's going to come out. Like all that scary shadow side, the shame and guilt, or like, when you really want to open yourself up to someone, you share parts of you that you're really, really uncomfortable with and scared of. And they're like, hey, I love all of you too. And you're like, wow, not only did I learn to love all of me, damn, someone else does too. Because if you learn to love all of you, they got a chance. And we're all human. We're all, and this is part of this is like another name for it, I think, is like shadow integration, which is you're learning to bring in the scary parts. You're learning to bring them in, and you're like, yeah, they're scary, but I'm not dangerous.
I like that. So I think the key to this piece of what we're talking about is obviously communication. So now we're moving into,
Yes.
right, like
Yes.
all the work that we've done before has
Yes.
literally been inside yourself, in the individual, learning to love yourself, dealing with stories, feeling what your feelings are in your body,
Yeah.
like not, eating the bunny. All of that stuff was all work that you're doing with yourself. So you've worked with a ton of people, athletes, professionals in all different kinds of realms. Like, do you there's two questions, like have you done work with teams?
Yeah.
And if you have, I'm assuming some of that work is around communication. And then the other part is when you're working with individuals, how do you coach them to communicate, right? Because swimming, the most team part of a of swimming is relays, right? And you're
Right.
still just like, and it's not like pass me the ball. Like I don't need to communicate. I'm open and stuff like this. I have played team sports, but a big part of team sports is communication, right? Like when I played lacrosse, it was like the goalie's job was always saying
Yeah.
like top center, top right, back left, back right, and then the goalie's job was to let the defense know where the ball was at any given time,
Yeah.
right? Or you're doing pick, or my favorite rule in lacrosse is like, and I don't know if they still have this rule, but if the ball's on the ground and there's three of us going for it and two of us are on the same team and one person is not, one person calls man and one person calls ball, and you can knock the shit out of anyone who's within 3 yards of the ball. Like you don't have to try to be picking it up.
Yeah. Right.
You can just
Let's go
lay
hit
them
somebody.
out,
Yep.
right? But there's like, you're talking about a team, there's always communication. So that's what we're talking about now, is a partnership, a relationship. There's a team. So how do you coach teams and how do you coach individuals to communicate as a part of a team?
Man. Well, one, I think the individuals like they're getting ready to become a team. So you're going to become a team together. There's like this process of like team building. I'm sure you've experienced it. We all have, but it stuck with me in graduate school a
Don't
lot.
say trust falls. If I have to do another
No,
fucking
no
trust
fucking
fall,
trust
like
falls.
God.
But it goes forming, it's four parts: forming, storming, norming, and performing. So the forming part, call that the original app stuff. Like it's your perfect shit. This is who I am. Like you're forming. It's perfect. I don't fart. What like all that stuff, right? And then if there's something there, you can get to the storming. The storming is when reality hits. I do fart. I have fears. I have all this shit. So think of the forming as like the honeymoon phase of getting to know someone, where there's this electric chemistry and you can't really see. And then the storming is, oh, we got some real, like all your shit's coming up. right? So forming, storming, and the storming is where most people go the right. Fuck you. It's your fault. What is this? If we go into this and we're like, this is the right person, we've done all the work, right? You're like, holy shit, it's the right person. It's a great, all these things. And we're like, damn, here we are in the storm. Good. Norming is what happens after that, but you have to go through the storm, and going through the storm is where you learn to communicate. And this is where we feel the intensity of wanting to like kill the bunny and do that, and we learn to go, okay, I'm not going to do that. Like our chemistry was, I can't scare the bunny. If the bunny's scared, the bunny's going to fucking hide. And I'd be like, fucking be here, buddy. And I was like, that's not how the buddy is safe. Like you can't go yell. Like it's gonna be like, see, I told you I wasn't safe. So for me, the work was always can't act with that firepower. I gotta keep making space for this stuff and practice that and communicate that I'm doing that. And you're gonna go through it. Like you're gonna go through it. This isn't a one-time thing. Like when we're with someone and we're going from forming, storming to norming, and we go in there, you're gonna go through all of your shit again, and you're gonna learn to do it to hold yourself right next to someone else. They can't do it for you. If your pattern was I try to save people that are unavailable and do the work for them, you can't do that, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
got to be someone that's willing to do it. And I just like this is where being present is important. This is where your daily practice, since you know you're going to be in this for a little while. Like, okay, what helps me out? Well, exercise helps me out. And I've noticed this when you do this intense work with someone, you're communicating. You're learning to do eye to eye stuff where you're looking each other in the eyes. You're holding that space for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. All your shit's coming up. It's really important to wrap it up at the end so you can like function in the world, right? Not just like I'm a mess for 7 straight days. Like you're opening your stuff, open your heart. You're working on going through this together. It's like, well, what is our what is our wrap up ceremony? Like you don't just work out 24 hours a day. You're gonna hurt yourself, right? You're training, but you wrap it up. You have a cool down at the end. You whatever. Like so in a relationship, I think that's a really really important one. As you're going through this, you're gonna do the work. Shit's gonna get messy. Shit's gonna get messy. That's okay. This isn't just a like it's gonna get messy. How do we wrap up? How do we seal each other up so we can both kind of be ourselves and go like if it's an intense session or intense 1 or 2 hours you're going through it? Wrap it up. Don't just leave each other open and you're just, randomly going forward. So I think there's just good practices on how to do this stuff every day, how to go through it every day so you don't just burn out in 4 days.
I like that. So
you know?
really what I'm hearing is depending on how you go through the storm together will result in how healthy the norming part
Yeah.
of it is, right?
That
And
makes
like
sense.
one of the things I've really liked, and I've heard this, like I got this concept in relationship in couples counseling with someone in my past is like really approach things like you're on the same team, right? Like I
Yeah.
think a lot of
That makes sense.
resentment can be built up in a relationship when it's me versus you, my
Yeah.
needs versus your needs instead of our needs. And like
Mm.
I have a rule that like if both people at some point are dysregulated, right? My rule is always like whoever is dysregulated the most gets the care, right? And so if you get into an argument with somebody and like I might be upset because they just weren't listening to me or
Yeah.
whatever, and then I may have said something that like totally triggered them
Yep.
and they're like a mess on the floor, like just can't get themselves together. Like in that moment, I'm hurt. Like I'm not being listened to, I'm
Yeah.
not being heard or feeling seen, but they're clearly like cannot regulate themselves. Like in those moments, like
Mm.
that person gets the care. That means we're on the same team, right?
Yeah.
Another piece of that is curiosity,
Wow.
right?
Yeah. Fuck.
So if your partner comes to you and
Oh,
says,
that's a big one.
hey, I'm really enjoying what we have, but I just feel like I'm losing myself a little bit. Like, I need to talk about this with you instead of like, and like, I think for a lot of people, not just me, like, that's going to set off alarm bells and trigger. Like, that's
Sure.
like, we need to talk, right? Like,
Sure.
like, It's going to
Very
set out
triggering moment.
triggers and alarm bells, and like all your spidey senses are going to be preparing you, embracing you to be defensive, and like
Yeah.
preparing you for impact, that like this person is going to say all of this stuff that like disqualifies you from being their partner and all this. And like that's just in 4 seconds somebody says you need to talk, like all your stories are
Yeah.
coming up, right? And I think just being curious and saying, like, if you know, as long as someone prefaces it, like kind of tells you what they need to talk about, just being curious and be like, breathe, okay,
Yeah.
I want to be on the same team with you, I can tell that this is really important for you, um let's sit down and talk about it. And they might say something that like you connect with, and maybe you were like, you were feeling but didn't really have the words for it. And if they're like, hey, I'm really like, I need to continue, or like start doing again the things that really made me me, so that I can be really centered for you. Like you might be like, I've seen that pattern in myself too.
Yeah.
I agree with you. But just really focusing on being on the same team in those moments, and like allowing space for both people's feelings.
1,000%. And here's a great practical drill for each other to be with each other in the same team. It's like the eye to eye exercise. And you get your chair, you sit right next to them. And I remember Jocelyn, who was, coaching me, and Tina had us do this. And you just look each other in the eyes and you just hold that space. And so you're connecting, like it's deep intimacy. And you just have to look in each other's eyes and you don't say anything. And fuck, that shit is, for me, was really uncomfortable at first. It's like, it's so intimate. You're like, there's the depth. Here's the connection you've wanted. And you got to like just sit there, and you don't get to say anything out loud. And so you just, as your stuff comes up of like, I'm going to be abandoned, or all these things, you just be with it and you're doing it together. And so you're forming kind of like just a great practice, 2, 3 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes. That's it. And just kind of hold that space. So you're still yourself. They're themselves, but you're working on connecting and holding our own space together. And if you have your shit coming up, it's a great practice in that moment to do it. So that makes it very practical, like a real practical thing to do with each other. Just look at each other eye to eye, and you breathe. And it'll might feel like 5 minutes, might feel like 5 hours, but that's a great place to, and you just hold the space. You don't react to anything, and you're like, in that moment, you're like, oh, we're doing it as a team, doing it as a group, and you're opening it up, pathways of intimacy, and learning to not just like collapse when your stories come up. I've noticed when you get in, when the relationship is real and it feels like the right one, you're going to go through all your shit. Like, you're going to go through it, and as long as you're down to do the work together, you can do it. Like, having a third party can help a lot. Like having someone where you have a space to go, or like time to like practice this stuff. Because if we're getting into communication and stuff, you're basically learning how to communicate under like what feels like duress, right? You're gonna feel your shit, and you're like, I can't just like act on that and squash you. So I'm like practicing grace in a moment where I don't feel grace, but I'm gonna practice it, right? And this is like, you're doing great in that moment, and you get so much better at this shit. You get better at it. Like anything else, that's the part that's like, you can't go from fear to faith to experience freedom. You can't go from reacting to responding to being like, wow, we're actually receiving together in these moments. You can learn to hold your own space, and maybe you didn't. Um, I think you said a really important thing for everyone: curiosity, 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 and then probably courage. It's probably, you pair those two things together, and with curiosity and courage, you can really, you can check it out. Like, you can really, dude, you can go explore
It
this stuff.
changes things like when you have those two things.
Yeah, it really does. And then the practical tool, I can do great breath work when it's intense. And we're in my garage. There's a picture over there of a big ass wave. Big waves are gonna hit you. This is the reality of it. Like, it's great to talk about this shit. In the moment, you're gonna feel a big fucking wave. And you might feel like all I want to do is squash this person next to me. He or she, like, they're for sure doing it. In that big wave, be like, I can ride this wave in this moment. If I don't take my breath and do that and react to them, okay, now we're going to all recovery game. How do we recover after fucking up majorly? Or we ride the big wave. I signed up for it, and you could start to de-electrify that wave. You do it a few times. You know how the electricity you felt 8 weeks ago, and now you're like, hey, it's not as
Yeah.
that same punch used to crush me. Now I take that punch, you're like, not so big, you know? So we're in the practice realm now with you and a partner. And this is, this is some daily shit, right? This is where I think the athlete mind is really, really good, where you're like, hey man, it's every day. Some days probably gonna feel easy and feel like, wow, it's easy to be a champion of this. And some days you're gonna be like, no fucking way. This is absurd. And it might be, that's almost kind of the beauty of it, that we don't know what's going to happen, but we do know we have skills, we have tools we can practice. Yes, this is our seventh kind of like framework of this, but it doesn't work in a logical fashion. You might find yourself spending time in one thing and then jumping over here and bouncing there and doing that. But that's kind of the beauty of this whole journey, is like, we don't know exactly what's going to happen. But Joey, coming back to, how do you feel like you're doing, man? Like listening to your technology. How do you feel like you're doing hearing yourself and having it kind of guide you?
I think that as you, well, just to answer your question, like it's so much louder, like it's so much clearer. And like we
You can
had a
hear it, man.
conversation
Okay.
before we even started this at like a cafe next to the beach, and you just told me, because I was talking to you about like different pathways that I wanted to, like if,
Yeah.
or just like feeling like I wasn't where I wanted to be in life, not in a relationship, just in life in general
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
now. There's like steps that I need to take. And one of the things he told me was, hey, like you're already on the path wherever you want to go, right?
Yeah.
And so many people have like, if I could just get to this point, I could start, right?
Yeah.
And you're
Right.
like, well, aren't you already on the path to get to wherever you need to start to? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, well, then aren't you already on the path to whatever you're trying to do? I'm like, and that really changed the way that I saw things. Um, and the other thing he said in that conversation was, there's going to be things that come in to your life when you're trying to do this, and they're going to seem like the quick fixes, right? And they're going to be like this really high, loud, screaming in your ear frequency, like, look over here, look at this, look at this. And then what you need to do is separate that all out and listen to that low frequency, steady,
Yeah.
calm voice that you can trust. And so, where I feel like I am in my body right now is like clearly not perfect at it, but so much better than I was 2 months ago
Mm.
about listening and tapping into that low frequency voice that says, like, don't go chase that.
Yeah.
Like, that's a quick fix that's like not going to put you where you want to be. Just
Mm.
listen to this, like, calm, breathe, slow yourself down. Like, maybe you don't need that thing right now, right? And like just be open to things that like come in, check them out, and if you like them, keep them around. Don't eat the
Yeah.
bunny. If you
Yeah.
don't, like, you're welcome to leave. Here's the door, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Like, um.
Good work.
So I think, yeah. I mean, it totally works. Um.
You hear it. You hear it. It's like it moves slower, but it arrives much faster because it knows the route. It may not be the route you think is the route for you, but it knows exactly what you're supposed to do. You have really turned on your technology in the last 8 weeks, right? You've turned it on. Maybe when we started, it was kind of frozen, and you were like, I got to open it up, and you're like, it's so raw. And you open it up, you're going through it all, and now you're like, it works really well. It's an amazing technology. It needs every day, like, so this is where the word surrender comes into play. Where, like, if you can hear it, you're doing the work. You got to like tune into it every day. Doesn't mean it's gonna seem easy or everything is great, but it's the song you're supposed to play. You've tuned your instrument, and you've got the music. We don't need to rush to the end of the song. Play the fucking notes that are here today, right? Like, why would you go to the end of the song? You're playing the music today. You've got the notes to play. Play that shit. That's it.
I
Like
like that analogy.
we don't need to go to the end of the song. That people get caught up in that. If you've tuned your instrument, which you have, you can hear it. The work is you got to hear it every day, and then hear it. Going back to the surrender, the surrender is just like, well, fuck it. If I can hear the song, I'm gonna play it. Where it goes, how it goes, it's already so beautiful that like but I got to stay tuned into it today. So the surrender is I actually don't need to know where this goes or any of that. I know I'm hearing the right thing. So you surrender to that reality and you just go, okay, this is the gift of the unknown because you're like, actually I do hear something. So I know that. I don't need to know where it goes. I know I'm playing the right music today. You know you're playing the right music. You can feel it. You're doing it. Now you're doing your thing. And the adventure, the unknown is kind of like, well, man, I'm kind of curious. What the fuck is like, what is this gonna do if I'm playing the right shit? And like, all instruments, we got guitars in here. Instruments get out of tune in 10 minutes. They can get out of tune in a day. If you don't play it, it's going to sound weird after a while. It can be too tight in certain situations, too loose in other situations. You got to tighten the strings depending on the temperature and the vibe. And so this is like our everyday practice is let me tune my instrument. And in your partnership, right? I like looking at it like we're on a team. You could also look at it like we're in a band together, and like you play an instrument. We probably play different instruments, so we don't need to do the exact same shit, but we sound good together. And you got to play your instrument though, and how you practice is probably different than how I practice, and when I need breaks, and when we support each other on our journey as we figure that out at first. And it's going to be pretty sloppy and silly at first, right? So if a kid's learning to walk, right, you're gonna fall down all the time. So in the relationship, hey, let's go fall down together and let's learn to stand up together. Because if we can do that, we can be here in 5 years, 10 years, 15. As long as we can grow together, if we can grow together and we can hold our own space together, well, fuck, we can do anything, right? You're gonna fucking fall down all the time.
Yeah, I like. I mean, two things. One, I like the idea of like learning how to fall down and getting up with somebody, right? Like, but then also you take the band analogy, like,
Yeah,
right? Like, what sounds better if you have two? Like, say you and me were in a band, right?
yeah,
And we both have trumpets, and they're the exact same trumpet,
yeah, yeah. Right.
right? Like, not only like, but then we also like practice the same. We practice together. Like, at some point, like if we play a song, it's just gonna sound like there's one instrument,
You see,
right? But what sounds better? Like if I had trumpet and you had a drum, or if I had trumpet and you had a clarinet or a
whatever.
flute or whatever, like that's adding to the melody, right? And like if we play different instruments, we're gonna have to practice separately. But then when we come together, we have to be on the same team or in the same band to make that music, and that music is going to have more depth to it
Come on.
and sound better if there's two instruments. So in this idea of like relationship grilled cheese, right? Like don't like we're not the idea is not to play the same instrument in the same tune and the same whatever. It's like let me play my instrument because I'm Joey. There's only one of me in this universe, and I have special things that I offer, and I have special things that I need to do to make sure that I stay me.
Yeah,
You're Graham.
yeah.
There's only one Graham in the universe. You have special things that you offer and things that you need to do to maintain that. So, like,
That's right.
let's acknowledge that, allow us to practice separately, but then when we come together in that partnership, like, we're playing the same tune, but there's so much more depth to that song.
Man, couldn't have said it better. If we're all playing the same instrument and the same notes, there's no variety. There's no any of that. You're a part of something bigger than yourself. You got to play your instrument and practice your instrument. You got to do that. And practice is real. Like no one else can practice for you. No one else can work out for you. You got to do that shit. And there'll be different moments where it's time for you to solo. And then there's different moments where it's time for your partner to solo. And that's life. And you find those moments where you support each other. You're like, hey man, it's your time to rip. Probably can't both solo at the same time, right? That would be strange, right? But you're like, if we're in this together, and if you watch a really good band, no one solos at the same time. When it's like they play good music, everyone's talented, so you're gonna have a time to let it rip. But you don't do that at the same time. But you support each other. If someone's the only person soloing every time, it's probably not gonna work. Of course, right? Everyone should have a chance to do that. I've noticed that sometimes someone might solo for several years in a row, and that's what's necessary for whatever it is in the journey. And then it shifts, and someone else is like, I'm going to play awesome. Not even, I don't even like the word backup, but I'm going to play my role. Fucking rip, right? And then you got like, that's a great brand. Now most bands, they get really good and they tragically like break up, and you see that a lot. So like it's complex, but like you can really do it. And with the analogies you have, and when you first learn to play together, does it sound good right away? Might
It's a little
sound, yeah,
awkward.
it might be awkward. I don't know how to play. Go through it. Go through the experience. I think that's why we're probably here to keep doing this work. Is I see us as like a great support system as you're doing the work. Like we got a framework. We can be by your side as you do it. You got to do the work yourself. You got
Yeah.
to go do it. It's totally fucking doable. If it fucking worked for me, if it's working, it's fucking doable, dude. We're regular fucking dudes, right? We're not some. We're not, dude. We're not. We're regular fucking dudes. Now, you got to practice. I know you're down to practice. I'm down to practice. That's how I think that's how that's like. I'm happy that we can support people, and that's where I see this show going forward is we're really supporting people on their journey, wherever you are on your journey. All good. We're here to support you on that journey and like coach you. And I think, do we all need a little coaching? Like if we're gonna get good at it, we need a little coaching. I've never seen someone be able to coach themselves. We all need help, and then we can kind of get on that right track when we do it. So I hope we can be a real resource for people wherever they are, whatever they come through, man. I know I had a lot of resources. I had a lot of support doing this. I was down to do the work, but I had good resources and I had good teaching around me. They were teaching me good shit. But ultimately, you better fucking lean in. Like you got to do your part. Like there's no victim shit here. Like once you get in, here's the keep it real part. There's no victim shit here. You can't do that. Like there's only vulnerability, and you got to lean in and you got to do that work. Now that gets rewarded on the back end with victory. But there's going to be a lot of moments where you're like, I had to be a warrior that I didn't even know I was capable of being. I had to be courageous and like, whoa, I didn't even know. Good.
Yeah.
That means you're doing the right shit.
I
Like,
think
you know?
the timing is different for everyone too. Like I get a lot of parents,
Yeah.
like my friends who have kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
I get a lot of questions about like, oh, my kid is this year old, and like, I got them in swim lessons where like they're
Yeah.
just not comfortable with the water. Like, what should I do? And well, my first answer is like every kid's different,
Yeah, right.
right? Like my kids, like we're just water people, and like I've had them in the water from forever, and like they're totally comfortable.
Yeah.
But even then, they all have a different relationship with the water. Some kids, like if it's just not a thing that your family does, like they take a little bit longer. Some kids, you can have kids who like are around the water all the time, but like they just want to wear their life jacket all the time,
Yeah, yeah,
right? And
yeah,
like
right.
you're like, you're safe, you know how to swim, right?
Yeah.
You can do this, but like they're just like, well, I'm not ready yet. And I think in terms of doing the work, it's the same way. Like everyone's different. Like it's taken me a while to get to where I'm at,
Yeah.
but I'm here. And so I think just allowing yourself the time and the grace to let it happen when it happens is big. I think you were talking
Mm.
about, kind of the the relationship dynamic. One of the things I'm stealing this from Brene Brown is like relationships are never going to be everyone's at 100 out all the time,
Yeah,
100 of
right.
100 out of the time, all the time, right? And even like some days it's like somebody might be 80 and somebody might be 40 or 30. Like even those days are okay because the person who's at 80 can come in and be like, I got you. Like, I
Yeah,
got
right.
this, right? Like, we're going to be fine. But like, you really have to have a plan for when one person's at 20 and one person's at 30.
Yeah, right.
Because those
Boom.
days it's like, I can't even, like, both of you are like, I can't even think about like what we're having for dinner tonight. And you got to talk about what your plan is before you get to that point. Because when you both get home and you're like, I'm at a 20, I'm at a 30, the plan has to be like, we talked about this. So we're going to order dinner.
Yeah,
We're going to
right.
have someone make it.
Yeah,
We're going to have
right.
it delivered to us. It just gets thrown out in the, like wherever, put in the
Yeah.
leftovers in the fridge. We don't have to do dishes. And like, we'll just be with each other and wake up and see if we feel better in the morning. Right. I think there's like, that's also part of it. Just having plans, right? Like, when I was in couples counseling, one of the concepts that you learn about is like fighting fair,
Okay, yeah.
right? And so what that requires is like talking about the rules of an argument so that, you like someone says like, listen, like these things are out of bounds.
Yeah, right.
Like these are things that like if you bring up, we're gonna have other issues,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
Um, but you can't do that in the middle of an argument,
yeah.
right? Like if
Yeah,
if
right.
you're arguing with your partner, you can't be like, time out. I just want to let you know that like as we're going
Yeah,
into
right.
this disagreement, here are the three things that like are out of bounds for it. Like you have to have those conversations like when you're regulated and in a space where you
Yeah.
can have those. So I think when you're talking about not getting into relationship grilled cheese and like the conversations that you need to have with somebody when you start to see that happening, you have to have a plan for that.
Yeah.
And so going into something with the mindset of I have done so much work on myself, like I'm protecting that. Like
Mm,
I am protecting that in me so that I don't lose myself. And so if I feel like this starts to happen, like we need to have a conversation about it. It doesn't mean that I don't love you. It doesn't mean that I'll
totally.
leave you. It doesn't mean that I'm pulling away. But I just need you to know like this is something that's really important to me and we're on the same team. And when we have this conversation, I want it to be something that we work through together.
Dude, communication. Working through it, going through it together and coming out the other side. Like knowing how to hold yourself. So you're loving yourself unconditionally, and then you can love someone else, and you're learning each other's patterns and going through it. And don't rush to the end. Like enjoy every step as best you can, even though the ones that are fucking uncomfortable and really uncomfortable. They all build to something that's like the journey is the destination. That's the same thing as like we have a tendency to want to get to the end of something or hurry up and get to this thing. And it's like, well, look, here me and you are just sitting here doing this thing. Here we are. And our whole life has led to this moment. And we just get to sit here and enjoy that stuff. And I try to remind myself of that every day in a relationship. Like, you're gonna go through everything, but if you can be present and you have your 1 day deal and you're like, I'm here today, here we are, like we're lucky to be alive. That perspective helps as you keep doing the work. Because yeah, like there's no everyone is different, every person is different, what we need in the moment is different. I think Brene Brown is amazing. She talks about vulnerability a lot, the power of that. I think that's so real to be like, yeah, what do we do when we're both at 20% and we're like, what the fuck are we doing for dinner tonight? And that's real life stuff. And I think all of this practice, I look at this like when you have good intention with someone and you're doing this, like you're building your vault together, your vault of like storage of like good energy. That real connectivity piece where you're like, we can go through hard times together. We can go through challenging times because we have so much built up together and so much we've invested so much into this that we can make it through it. Like, 'cause you're gonna go through everything. Like this is life, man. It's real shit.
You've shared like, you've been with Tina for 20 plus years, right? And like everyone in your house is like into like performing arts or something like they're
Yeah.
like you're like a sports junkie
Yeah,
and
right.
all that. And like they're on a different, just have different,
Yeah.
find enjoyment in different ways, whether it's like your kids or your wife or whatever. Like, do you have stories? Do you have like, did you experience like, oh my gosh, like either the person I want to be with, like my person or my kids, like aren't into the same thing as me. Like, do I try and like find some joy in that and like move? Like, how did you navigate that?
Well, man, it's really triggering. First of all, I think like the process of like just having kids and doing all this, so much shit comes up. So much fucking shit comes up. Like overwhelming amounts of stuff comes up where I have to really, let them be who they are. Just because I love playing basketball or I operate in a certain way has nothing to do with their life whatsoever. And I think we've all heard of parents that are like, put their pressure on their kid to be like them, and then the kid rejects all of it. Shit, I felt all of that too. It was like, wow, I don't know why I feel so insecure if like they don't play basketball, or like, what is that? Like, what is my self worth tied into like some sort of sport or something? And so they really, all of them really help me continue to grow, because I have to face so many fucking stories that I have inside of me of like what my self worth is, or who they're supposed to be, or I don't know, like, you know, uh, like crazy fucking triggers. And so I try to really look at them as like great teachers in my life. Because yeah, I love sports. They'll be like, how do you just like watch basketball games? Like I could watch like 10 straight hours of basketball. They're like, that's insane. What's wrong with you? And I'm like, that's just what I love. And they're into completely different stuff than me, like totally different. Same with my wife. She's like, basketball's cool, but like I don't care about it like that at all, and like anything like that. So
Do you ever find either like do you ever find yourself in a situation where you denied yourself basketball or something because you thought that like, oh, like my it's not as important to Tina or my family,
yeah,
so like how do you
I think this is where you really work and you communicate with each other. So I was like, basketball is a love of mine, right? That is. And I was able to do it professionally. That's my life. Like it's beyond like I'm like a fan. I'm actually professionally working the space, and I've done this stuff. So I was like, okay, I have this immense passion for it. And so Tina was like, look, I love you. Like this is your love. Like, I'm not gonna. You got to do your love, but let's work with each other. Like let's figure it out. So, just starting with saying like watching basketball on TV. You know, I'll just automatically put a game on. And so the rule became like I could watch 3 basketball games a day and still function at a high level in life and do all that. But for someone else, it sucks. So I was like, I actually don't need to watch. I don't need to watch, but maybe 5 to 10 games a year. Like, okay, it's a championship game. I gotta lock the fuck in. Like, this is real. If I'm working with a team and they're playing, like,
right.
I'm going. But most games, I actually don't need to watch. So the rule was, anytime something's on TV, I'll turn it off anytime. Anytime you want. Anytime. Knowing, but there's probably like about 10. Yeah, of course. This is my profession. Like, we're going to be
Like
locked
I
in.
have to watch
Oh,
this.
for sure. And she was like, wow, that makes me feel really safe. Really cool. So you're not just, Corey, you got this thing, you're good at it. Corey, man, you're fucking good at it. Like, you're really good. I don't want to take that from you. But if you just love that without any boundaries, that's fucking terrible. That'll like ruin it. So her, like, I'm like, I have boundaries with this. So if a game's on and they're just like, oh, let's do something else, I'm like, no problem. And you switch it, and you go, cool. Now they feel safe, so I can like love the fuck out of this thing that means something to me. To someone else, they're like, I don't give a shit about that, but they care about me. So I don't think I ever like I couldn't give up the thing that I love. I'm like, that's not going to work. I can't even love you because like this is a part of my life. But I can work on having good boundaries with this, right? I can work. And when I would go like travel with the Utah Jazz, or go spend a week in Orlando with Aaron Gordon, right? There was times where I'd be on the road, a lot. And so instead of me coming home and just crashing out when I come home, exhausted, a wreck after like a week, it was like, no, before I come home, I hit the gym and I have a meal. And so then when I walk in the house, because what happens when you walk in the house and you've been gone for a week is Tina's like, peace, you're on. And I'm like, of course, like, you've been holding everything down. I'm hanging out with like an NBA player. I'm like, it's my job and I'm getting paid, but like, right? And I walk in the house and those kids immediately just wham, they're on you. You know this. So there's no, give me an hour to get together. I wanted to come home with my shit together already. And so those were things I started to learn how to be like, okay, if I love this game, here's how I can make it work. If they want something else on TV, you got it. When I come home from a trip, it's not just your disaster. Like, you're coming home and you're taking care of those kids the second you walk through that fucking door, for sure. And your wife gets to be like, peace, and do whatever the fuck she wants. Ever the fuck she wants. Right? Or else this ain't gonna work. Like you're doing your solo in the band, you're doing your solo, and like you can't just get like now set the stage for her to do her solo. So you work on that. I wasn't perfect at that from the get go. This is shit I learned. How did I learn to eat and work out before I came home? I would come home hungry, not working out, and be a wreck in the house. and be mad, be like yelling at kids and shit. I'm like, oh, this is basketball's not going to be a part of my life for very long. If this is what I'm bringing home, it's not going to be a part of my life. So I got to have real good boundaries for myself. And here we are, like I fell in love with basketball in 1989 as an 11-year-old, and here I am. I'll be 48 in like a month or two, and I'm like, I got a good relationship with this game. I've broken up with it 15 to 20 times. I've experienced every heartache, everything you can imagine, but I still care for it, and it hasn't abused, and I have good boundaries with it. So anyway, Joey, a lot of practice, dude.
It's like having boundaries, screwing up, having the awareness to know that you need to set boundaries, having the awareness to know that you screwed up and like maybe need to readjust.
Recovering well, and just being aware of like, okay, now if I've been doing this for a while, what's the other side of this? I want to make sure I'm providing space for her to do whatever she wants, because you can get obsessed with what you're into and think that's the whole life, and then your partner's like, "Peace, we were in a band," and like like
I'm
that's
going solo.
that's cool. Then we're not in a band, no problem.
Right. Yeah.
And so me living in like the NBA life or traveling with players, a lot of her stuff would come up. It's like, oh shit, is this dude gonna leave? He's just on the road with like, living hoop life, which for a lot of people is not comforting for the family members of basketball players.
Sure.
It's very uncomfortable for them. For everyone else in the world, they like, it's awesome to look at, but the actual people closest to them, they're on the road all the time. They're always gone. So like, no kid is like, I'm really happy you're gone all the time. Like, that's not what. I don't care how much money you have or your status. People want connection. So yeah, you work with each other. A lot of communication, a lot of messing up, learning to recover really well, and then like great bands, like you learn to play good music together.
I like the idea of boundaries, and that I heard somebody say this a while ago, that a lot of people think that you create boundaries to keep people out of your life. And he's like, you got to flip that mentality and think that you're really creating boundaries to let people know how they can stay.
Damn, that's real
continue
talk.
to be a part of your life.
Again, go to the lifeguard. Lifeguard with no boundaries, 2 people die. Lifeguard with boundaries, 2 people are alive. So like, that's the part where you're like, it's actually not selfish for me to have boundaries. If I just melt into this person and we become one, and I'm like, we're going to lose it all. You know? And it might feel like the right thing to do, and having a boundary might feel like I'm going to lose it. But you're like, if you don't have the boundary, it's guarantee you're going to lose it. And so we may as well try.
Like being able to sit down with the partner and being able to say like, listen, like, I'm going to use this thing because every time I talk to a woman who was on a dating app, they're like, there's so many pictures of guys holding fish, right? So I like fishing.
Okay.
I do not have any fish pictures on my dating profiles.
Okay.
But I'm just going to use this because I think maybe there's guys out there who probably do, right? So we all love fishing. Guys, it's like this mental internal thing of like, you got to outsmart the fish. It's like you versus nature. Like, it's pretty primal, right? Like, I get it. So
totally.
And there are guys that either fish or hunt, like they're out all the time, every weekend. And like, I'm sure there are partners and wives and girlfriends out there that like, you don't need to fish or hunt all the time.
Yeah.
This is a problem, right? So I'm just creating this situation of, I really like to fish, and but I can't be out there every weekend. I won't be any use to my family or my kids or my partner, or whatever. So having those boundaries and saying like, hey, fishing for me is a part of who I am, and it's really important for ways that maybe I can explain to you and maybe I can't.
Yeah.
Right. But I really need to be able to go and have my fishing days.
Come on.
And so let's set, a standard of, this many days over the summer or this many weekends, like plan, like I'm going to go on these weekends. Right. Or, I'm going to go like, there's different fishing seasons, right? It's like, I want to fish one time within each season.
Yeah.
Right. Or twice within each season. And we can pick those, like, there's other factors like the weather and whatever, but being able to have those boundaries, and your wife might, or girlfriend or boyfriend or whoever might say something else. Well, I really like to do, you know, I really like yoga,
Anything.
right? And I want to go on these yoga retreats, and like that's a
Right.
really like that keeps me centered and keeps me grounded, and it's really important. So like that give and take of it's not, and I hear a lot of things too about like reciprocity, and to me, reciprocity doesn't feel like the right word in this moment because reciprocity to me feels like tit for tat. If I let you do this, you have to let me do this, right? That doesn't feel
Yeah,
right.
right. That's
It's
transactional.
just more of a understanding of like this is what keeps you whole,
Yeah.
and I want to support that for you. But if you're just out there doing that all the time, like we don't have anything. So
You're on it.
when you go and do your thing, absolutely go do your thing. I don't even want you to think about me. You just be so present
Yeah.
and involved in what you're doing. But just know that when you get back, it's like I have to be able to do those things too. And
Totally.
it might not happen back to back. My thing might be 3 months down the road.
Yeah.
But then when I say I need to go do this, I need you to support me in that.
I think if like all that is so if you're emotionally available, I bet your partner supports you in that. If you're not emotionally available, bullshitting, saying I'm gonna go fishing, but you've never fucking been around, you're avoiding the whole shit the whole time. So you have to actually be here, and then those things become wonderful things. I think a lot of people are not really there, and they're just those are escapes. And so if you're not there, no one's supporting you in that journey. But like you being emotionally available, you make space for love. What I've noticed is you get supported going fishing because that allows you to be more present when you're back and more available. But if you're not there and you're just these are your escape mechanisms, that's a different thing, you know. Totally, and a lot of people are not going to be okay with that, you know. So,
Mm-hmm. And I think finding someone that, or having a dynamic where somebody sees that and they just want that for you and support that for you within reason, right, is so important. Like, I don't think that I've shared this on the show. I don't even know if I've shared this with you. When we first started doing the show, like I was still like trying to figure out where I was with that thing that ended, and
yeah,
like the kind of like flipped me upside down for a little bit. And when we did our first episode, I was so hesitant to like send it out on social media,
sure,
but I was like, we have to like from our personal accounts collaborate
yeah,
because like I don't know the the podcast account had like 3 followers, right? So it's like no one's gonna see this. So I was like, I was so nervous. Like I don't know if I should share this because I said some things
yeah,
about her. I did not identify, but um, I said some things about our dynamic and what happened and some of that. And I was like, all the stories started coming up like, oh, well, like we still follow each other on social media. And if like
yeah,
she reads this or she listens to this, then like, was she going to be pissed or is she going to think that like, you know, I'm off doing this thing because of what happened between us and
yeah,
just all these crazy stories, whether they're true or not, I had no idea. And like some of them were just stupid. But what just pushed me over the threshold of like, and also just separating myself from that whole situation was, um, I just had the realization one day that like, you know what? Like, this is the thing that I believe in most in my body is like talking about these issues and helping people love themselves and making myself better to be able to love myself so I
yeah,
can attract the things that I want in my life. And I'm like, if somebody watches this and thinks or feels whatever stories I was telling myself in my head, like fuck them. They are not my person. Like whoever is like right for me,
yeah.
they're gonna watch this show and they're gonna listen to us and like see the things that we're doing and
There
they're
you
like,
go,
damn, I
dude.
love the shit out of him. Like that is the reason, like one of the reasons why I love him so much is like he's not afraid to talk about this. He's working on himself, like he's doing all these things. And like so that was a pretty
That's it.
like it turned a switch in me of realizing like why am I if I'm doing things based on someone else's reaction is performative,
Mm.
right? And so being able to find somebody where I can just be me and do the things that I want to do and not be self-conscious about how is someone going to feel or react about this It's like, I want somebody that's going to love me for that.
Yeah. Dude, you're on it. I think that's probably a great wrap up to what we're doing. And I would
Yeah.
just say this, like, say you want someone to like give you space to do your thing, give it to them first. It's not what can you do for me? Go do it to them first. And then just let go. Go do the actions that you want done to you. Go do them first. Don't sit and wait and be like, well, they have to do this. Go do it first. Go help them first. And you go have the offering first instead of waiting for it, which I think is where a lot of people put themselves like, well, you have to show some sort of respect. No, she doesn't. You go show the respect and she can do whatever she wants. You do it first. You're setting the stage for what you really want to be a part of. I had a good friend who was like, you want someone to help you move? Go help someone move. Like no one wants to help anyone move, but you're like, go help someone. So
I agree with that. So just to wrap things up real quick, what I think we're talking about today is one, communication.
big time.
And then I think the other pieces of it are so communication, and then being able to set boundaries for yourself and within the relationship so that you can keep people in your life.
That's the practice. You've got someone in your life. Now we're going to do the work every day. Now it's a practice every day. That's what we'll work on. The everyday work.
All right. Well, this was episode 7. We've packaged up our first 7 core,
Let's go.
I guess, principles or steps or whatever
Sure.
you want to call it, things, tools. We'll call them 7 tools.
Sure.
So keep listening. We're going to have more guests on now. We're going to talk about people's real life experiences. But this is episode 7 from the garage.
Great work. All right, y'all. Peace.
Peace out.